the challenges that we're going to have in the next couple of years is something that no one would ever experienced before, right? Have to understand the younger generation and the older generation, and you have to be ready to, to adopt new approach of solving the problem. So it means that I think Pitha, he has this kind of quality to become the Prime Minister.
สนับสนุนโดย True Corporation ชีวิตดีกว่าเมื่อมีกันและกัน
สวัสดีครับ Welcome to the interview by TNN World. I am Neil Pallawat Pupipat, and joining me right here is คุณไหมสิริกัญญาตันสกุล She is Deputy Leader of ก้าวไกล or Move Forward Party, and she is also the head of the economic team. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ Thank you for having me today.
It's our pleasure. The election day is coming pretty soon. How do you feel?
I feel very, very excited. This time is going to be very critical for Thai politics because this time a lot of first-time voters is coming, and we think the result of the election would be the indication that people need the change or not. If Move Forward Party we won big amount of seats, it means that people are ready for the change.
And are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. And are you ready for questions from TNN World here?
Sure, shoot me.
Okay. So the first question is, what's one thing that people always misunderstand about your party, ก้าวไกล Party?
There are a lot of things that there are two things. One thing is that people always receive the fake news about the policy of Move Forward Party. For example, there's the news that they circulated that we're going to cut the pension of civil servant. That we have to say that we have absolutely no policy to cut pension of civil servant.
That's not true.
Not true. The other one is that they said that we have the policy to abolish the military conscription, but they think that it implies that we're going to abolish the army, which is not the same thing. We just want to replace the conscription with the voluntary system. That if you want to be soldier, you can register to be a soldier, but you don't have to be forced to be soldier. That's our two fake news that we always.
The second question is more about you. Before, you were a researcher at TDRI, and now you are a politician. Like, what led you to this point?
At first, I was recruited to be the policy director of Future Forward Party, my former party. And at first, I think that those who are policy drafters, policy maker in the political party, they always work in the background. Nobody knows. So easy for me to accept the jobs because why not? That's why I entered into the party as a staff. In December 2019, Kun Thanathorn called me and asked.
What did he say?
And asked if I want to be in the top 20 of the list of the Future Forward Party. He said, we need more girls, the 20s. I was like, should I be proud or not? And then I accept because at that time, December 2019, no one would have thought that we would get 50 seats in the list, right? So I've got number 15 at that time. So it was kind of luck and accident.
Since you are already in the game, in the political arena in Thailand, so the next question is, if you can change one thing about Thai politics, what would it be?
If we want to change one thing that should be impactful, so I think we should change the rule of the game, which is the constitution. So we need to amend the constitution. No, not amend it, but we need to redraft it, draft it again by the elected drafting committee. We never have this before. Even the constitution in 1997, drafting council, they are from appointment. But we need the drafting council that comes from election. So that will represent the rule of the game that politicians will play, that the people will play, and we need a fair game. So we need to rewrite the rules.
Right, so starting first from elect the drafting council and then let them draft the constitution that represent the needs of the whole country. Is that right? I see. Okay. The next question is, if you were to become the next Minister of Finance of Thailand, what policy would you bring?
If I were the Minister of Finance, there are things that we discussed that we gonna accomplish within first 100 days. First thing first, we can amend the regulation about the liquor. You know, our signature policy is liquor liberalization. Now the small and medium enterprises they cannot produce or manufacture their own liquor. It's always the regulations that say that they have to produce more than several million liters. So it means that small businesses cannot join the liquor industry. So first thing first, fix the minister regulation about this, you know, to liberalize the liquor industry. Second thing,
Sure.
so we need to stimulate a little bit about our economy because we know that the economy has been very flop for some time. So we need to boost up by our policy called Invoice Lotto. Have you been to Taiwan?
I mean, I've been there, but I've never played lotto there.
Yeah, it's not really lotto that you have to go to the shop to buy the lotto, but every shops in Taiwan, if you buy something and you got the receipt or the invoice,
Right.
you will see the number on the receipt. If you won the prize, you could get like 1 million by that number. So we adopted this policy to Thailand, but we limited only SME shops. So everyone who buy from the SME shops, every 500 baht, you can turn that receipt into lotto.
Ah.
So this way is just to make SME to fight with a big corporate, with a big chain of convenience stores and stuff. But in the long run, we think that if I were the Minister of Finance, the tax reform needs to be done. Because right now we collect tax very, very low at around 13% of GDP, which is very, very low comparing to OECD country that they
see.
collected up to 18% of GDP. So we need to reform the tax system to be fairer and also more efficient in order that we can provide welfare to the people.
Also, your party mentioned about increase the minimum wage to 450 baht per day. So the question is, how would you tackle all the high costs that all the businesses will bear?
We know that if we raise the minimum wage to 450, it will affect those who are doing business, especially the SME. So we plan to subsidize the contribution to the Social Security Fund to the SME for the first 6 months, and then after they can use the wage to deduct their tax. So this way is to reduce the cost of the SME by raising the minimum wage. So we really care and take care of every stakeholders that could be affected by our policies.
I see. And next question, what is your suggestion to a family with different political perspectives? Kids in the family might really like your party, but their parents might the opposite. What is your suggestion?
They can normally live happily together, even though they have different perspectives.
But they always argue during dinner time.
So what I have to say is that you can argue, but you have to argue with reasons, with facts and evidence. That way, you can reduce the emotion involved, right? But I can see a lot of youngsters, they have very creative way to convince their own parents or their grandparents.
Right.
And I can see they not always ended up with a strong argument always. So it could happen.
So let them talk.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of democracy, right?
Exactly.
Okay, next question. And it's time for questions from our TNN World fans. So it's here for pictures. So would you please choose one?
I can choose only one, or
Yes.
I can choose it all.
Just one. If we have more time, you can choose all four.
I would choose this one.
This one, okay. Let me grab this for you. Okay, the question is, what role do you think Thailand can play amidst rising tension between the US and China?
I would say it depends on the game that we choose to play, right? We should not play chess in this situation. Play chess, it means that you have to take one side. So we have to play poker. So we have all cards in our hand and we're hedging all the risks that could happen. And we don't put all eggs in one basket anyway. So we have to wait and focus more on the national core. For example, Thailand has not enjoyed the post-COVID boom, if you recognize. Up till now, we couldn't get recovered up to the level before COVID. right? One of my hypotheses is that Thailand has synchronized our economy with, it means that China have very delayed to open the country, to abolish the zero COVID policy. So our economy has not recovered and recovered really, really slow comparing to ASEAN countries. So we have to play this game very, very carefully. And one thing, for example, now the U.S. has passed the bill called CHIPS and Science Act, and that means that they want to put the barrier to the China to get into the chip industry. And now they got affected. China couldn't import the machines from other countries, including the U.S., to manufacture the chip. So in this game, if you want to choose a side, you shouldn't. But you have to take the opportunity, to seize the opportunity that is coming.
All right. So another question is, what is the most important quality that a Thai Prime Minister should have?
I think it's a simply leadership quality that he or she must have the ability to listen to the request, the demand of the people, and turn it or translate it into the policy that we deliver to the people. And another thing, it's very, very simple, is the communication. We have been into 8 or 9 years of failed of communication from the leader, especially during the crisis, that we need the leader to deliver the strong message, a very important message to the people. But if the leader failed to do so, you will end up like this. The last thing is that the threat challenges that we're going to have in the next couple of years is something that no one would ever experienced before, right? So it doesn't mean that even though you have 10, 20 years of experience in the political arena, you will get past it, or you can solve this. And so that's the ego, right? You have to understand the younger generation and the older generation, and you have to be ready to adopt new approach of solving the problem. So it means that I think Pitha he has this kind of quality to become the prime minister.
Okay. One more question. So what if Khao Krai Party cannot form a government? What role will your party and yourself take to support and help this country?
We are very ready, even though we couldn't form the government. As an opposition coalition, we have prepared more than 40 bills to be amended in the parliament in order to deliver our 300 policy. Because we know for sure, as a 4 years as an opposition party, we know that if we have the laws to amend, we got to be hurried. So this time we got prepared and we already draft all the laws that we got to amend it and ready to submit to the parliament. First day we enter the parliament.
Last question. How do you see Thailand in the next 4 years?
In the next 4 years, it depends whether we are in the government or not.
Okay.
Right? If we are not in the government, you will see the same old days, that democracy is not there yet. There's some action from the government that violate people's basic rights. You will see the economy that is not really growing anywhere. You will see the inequality that is going on for several decades and is still continued. But if we are the new government, we guarantee that we will deliver full-scale democracy. We will end all the actions that violate people's basic rights. We will fight inequality at our best, including the welfare state and tax reform. We will try our best to make the economy to grow as fast as possible.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. And this is her interview, คุณไหม สิริกัญญา Thank you once again. ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you.